everyone! I've recently within the past few weeks, posted my first video back. And I can pause this. Okay, anyway, we are in February, so we all know nothing's going right until May, April maybe, if we're lucky. So I know it's a long way off, but it's still time to start considering my garden, which is thrilling to me because I'll be totally honest, it was not as successful last year as I would have wanted it to be, but that's okay. This year, we're moving up from the garden box to create a actually very large garden. It's going to be really big. Looking at the size of what I've got is, it's huge. So a little nervous, but it's going to be great. So I wanted to kind of walk you through what I've done so far, what I'm going to do, and bring you through the process of like planting it. So it's February, but it's like 40 degrees out, 45 maybe, 42, something like that. It's warm today, relatively speaking. So it's feeling beautiful. It's feeling wonderful. The sun is out. We're outside. We were sick, so we're trying to get better by getting in the sun because the sun has healing energy, I tell you. Let me show you. Let's just talk about the garden. So first of all, I had to do some planning. I'm going to go in and show you that planning first. So here's the first step in planning my veggie garden. As you can see, veggie garden planning. Now over here, I am working on a Marion garden, but that is a conversation for another time. So we're just gonna focus on this. So a few things that we need to do is select the area, which I wrote down yesterday, and I will show you shortly. Then I picked a time where I'm going to do the tilling, and then I think I want to start my seeds inside, but we will see. Then these are all the plants, food that I want to grow. Potatoes, garlic, onions, watermelon, cucumber, lettuce, green beans, carrots, peas, zucchini, sweet potatoes, strawberries, cantaloupe, broccoli, radishes, green peppers, tomatoes, asparagus, cauliflower, dill, basil, cabbage, and pumpkin. Now, if you'll notice, next to each one of these, there is a number, and after each one, there is a bunch of stuff. So after each item, there is the planting season, late April to early May. I looked this up per my USDA zone, and then what I could plant it by if I want to go and do companion planting. Wow. Which I am planning on doing. So we have potatoes by peas, garlic by basil, garlic you plant in the fall, etc., etc. So I went through and did all of that, and each thing has its own information. Then I grouped them. So there's group 1, which all have the same late April to early May planting season. Group 5 is the latest group, that's in September. Group 3 is late May. Group P is pre-planting season, so that's early April or earlier. Group 4 is June 15th, which is ridiculous, but that's Minnesota for you. And group 2 is mid-May to late June at some point in time. So the difference is mid-April, mid-May, late May, and then mid-June. And then obviously September up there. And then the P is anything before that. So asparagus needs to go in early. Could go in now, but I'm not ready yet. So I did all of this. It's very categorized by what we're going to eat and what I want. And then you'll see all the check marks. What does that mean? Well, if you look at the back here, I decided to do some grouping and categorizing. So I did a direct sow grouping of P1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all the items and what that planting season was. Then I planned out what my rows will essentially look like. So in my raised bed, which is over in the front of the house where I put my garden last year, that's getting broccoli, lettuce, and strawberries. There will be multiple rows of each one, okay? And then I've got, in order, all the vegetables next to their companion plant. Now, some of these aren't necessarily companions, but they're next to each other, but they're approved, they're okay to put next to each other. They don't hate each other, as far as I know. I may have missed something, but I worked really hard on this yesterday. So we have potatoes, then peas, zucchini, then cabbage, onions, then green peppers, then carrots. Now, as you can see, we've got a couple of pre-planting and one number 2, but the rest are like 1. So we're kind of trying to keep them grouped together as much as we can based on their planting season and like what they like. Then carrots, tomatoes, cauliflower, green beans, asparagus, dill, sweet potatoes, basil, garlic, cantaloupe, pumpkin, cucumbers, radishes, and watermelon. And then I'm going to plant some marigolds on either side just for some pest control because I am sure we will need it. And like I said, hopefully the cattle panels with like those poles to go around it and some kind of gate opening. This is the plan. So let me show you where we're gonna put this. Okay, so now that you've kind of seen like what my plan is, I'm showing you this is the space. This is the space that I will have my garden. So those posts back there, those are my compost piles and like a lot of other stuff. But over here, last year we had our chicks go into a tractor until they went into that coop over there. And that didn't happen until like October. So it was a while of them being in the chicken tractor. And we ran it from, well, it was actually all the way over there. And it came around and then it went up and then over and then back down that way. And obviously there are some ruts here and there from where they were, but all of the weeds, grass, everything was torn out by the hens when they were out here foraging, eating in the tractor. And obviously there was tons of poop because they were in the tractor pretty much exclusively. And so this got really well fertilized. The thing about chicken manure is that it's hot manure, so you have to let it sit for like a year to like cool off so that it doesn't scorch your plants. And that's, you know, part of why like the grass is still dead, even though this probably, they were back here in like what, August maybe? So it's been months and months of time and they really haven't had much regrowth. But over there where they were in like May, June, that has started to come back in a little bit. So as we can see, it's been cooling down, obviously all winter. It sat under the snow, and this ground is going to be super moist and fertile. Honestly, it looks a little problematic because of these ruts here, but I promise that's just like from the chickens, and when I level it all out for the garden, it is going to be wonderful. So basically, the size of my garden is going to be from this corner here, and then like right in here, and then I'm gonna walk it back because this is like the back line of where we had the hens, and then all the way up to like here-ish, so we see like where it is distance wise, and then it's gonna go all the way because I'm gonna have so many plants, it's gonna be crazy. Oh, it's so wet, oh my gosh. Okay, it's fine, we're good. It's gonna go all the way up to like here, which we're like kitty corner from that post there, and then obviously all the way over here and then back. So it kind of runs like that rectangle shape. And my husband has a bunch of like 8-foot posts left. Well, they're 10-foot posts, but they'll be 8 feet once they're in the ground. Or maybe they're 8-foot posts and they'll be 6 feet. Anyway, 8-foot posts left that he's going to like put around the outline and then get some cattle panels basically, and then put them up around the garden. And he's going to leave a little space on the edge of each garden bed. And what we're going to do is it's going to be basically like one garden bed with a space in the middle and then the second garden bed next to it. So we'll have some kind of like little walking path in between the two garden beds, and then we'll just have tons of plants. And as you saw in my planting, I did all of my preparations. I'm really hopeful that it's going to work out. The only thing that I have to do is at some point soon here, I actually need to plant my asparagus, because asparagus is supposed to be planted in like February. I mean, you can plant it later, but that's like when the start of the season is. So what I really want to do, and I don't think it's going to happen this week, but maybe, it's supposed to be warm all week, maybe come in here and just start tilling up all of this and maybe dumping from my compost pile on it. I don't know. Don't have an exact timeline on it, but this is going to be my garden, and I am so excited because then, you know, eventually long term, what the plan hope is for the property is that this part right here is just going to be like soccer field play area for the kids. It's pretty exciting. There's that like wood pile behind the guest house there, and that is like scrap wood and like branches and trees, and so we want to move that. We actually want to burn it and then start over and put our new scrap pile back over behind the compost over here. It's just really out of the way regardless of where you put it, which we want them out of the way, but it's kind of a pain in the butt to transport. So trying to figure out the best spot is a little bit difficult. Also, look at how much water there is. I think it's so funny. I think it's so funny, not because, like, I mean, obviously flooding like that is not ideal, especially if you have like a really wet harvest season or planting season. It's definitely not ideal for farmers, but just the amount of water makes me so happy. And we've got this little like creek back there, and I really wish that we had some kind of like four-wheeler or something so we could go over there and check out the spring, because I love seeing it. It's so cute. And then it runs down to like the river. So anyway, really exciting. But this is my compost pile, so that is manure. This is like yard trimmings, and then this is like compost, so you can see our pumpkins are in there. Again, when my husband goes through with like the cattle panels and everything, he's going to put some chicken wire up around these on the like 3 sides. I think he plans on leaving the front open. That honestly makes the most sense to me. But I'm not 100% positive on how that's going to look. But I'm so excited. And this spring, when we go into like buy farm and animal supplies and whatnot, I am going to get some 10-gallon buckets with lids so that I can start like a compost inside and then bring it out here and dump it out. So I don't have to bring everything out every single day, because I'm so bad about that in the winter. So we're having some really, really exciting stuff going on. I think the other thing that my husband is going to try and get done this week, as you can see, our pasture is right there. And then there's a pasture next to it, and that's the one that my horse is in. But with like springtime and the grass starting to grow in, because the thing about Minnesota, if you don't know, is that it will, hang on, basically what will happen is with this like warm snap, because it's lasting longer than like a day or two, all the snow will melt. We'll probably get some rain. We'll get really good sunshine for the week. And then the grass will start growing again, because it gets this like, it's fake spring, right? The everything kind of gets started. Perfect time to like tap maples and everything like that. So if I actually have a friend who's doing it, so I was gonna ask her if she could actually tell me how, because we have a couple of maple trees and I would love to try it out. I've got a few sugar maples around here. But anyway, so the grass is going to start its growing process. Some of it's actually already turning green, but that's more like crabgrass and things like that, not so much like lawn grass. Anyway, crabgrass is really good for like pastures and whatnot, and all good stuff. But because we've got all this like dead kind of grass, like hay basically, in this pasture, and it's kind of overgrown, honestly, when you look at it. No, Angelo will move over here eventually. So basically, with the grass starting to grow and everything like that, this side needs to get trumped down because it's a little bit overgrown. In order for like good balance, that pasture, the far pasture where he's at right now, is basically totally torn up and it's all mud. What we want to do is move him over here once the gate gets up and make sure the electric is good. It should be fine right now, but we haven't tested it yet, so I gotta go get the electric tester thing to put over here, and then he'll be in this pasture, so he'll get to graze again since there's no snow, or it's like really light snow, and that's I will have a chance to just like dry out and heal. And the beautiful part about being able to rotate pastures is your horse gets really a lot better nutrition, and they're able to forage a lot more, especially if you have 2 smaller pastures, and change scenery, change pace, helps them out a lot. Anyway, my chickens, we will address them in a moment. I love spring. I love spring on the farm. I hate that it's muddy, but I love spring. It is my favorite season. Always has been, probably always will be. But so my husband has to get up this gate, right? There's nothing there between these 2 posts. And then the wiring over here. The other thing that he's going to do after he gets that up is probably dump out the horse trough, let it get all wet over there, and bring that over this way, because we have this big like stock tank over there for his water. So we'll bring that over here, So it'll be on this side of the pasture. He'll stay here for a little while, probably until the next freeze. And then when that happens, because the three-sided shelter's on the other side, that's the side he will go on again. But it'll give the land some time to breathe. Then we'll be able to start fully rotating once the spring is, second spring comes and third spring. There's multiple springs. Real spring is like fourth spring, depending upon the year. Sometimes it's third, sometimes it's fourth. But my chickens! So this is my chicken house. It's an amazing coop. This got finished in the fall. I think I showed you guys the coop before, but I'm not totally sure. Isn't it awesome? My husband built this all himself, and honestly, he just did an amazing job. So hang on, let me show you. Okay, so yesterday I was filming this and my phone died, but this is the coop. The run, there's the little run door that you can shut. That is the door. It's got like a little like screw you can pull, but it needs a knob, and then it needs a latch. There are gonna be windows, but they're currently not in there. And yeah, beautiful stuff. It's beautiful.
Love, Genevieve.